I've got Yaz's sister's Kia Rio, 2014 I think it is. So we're going to be upgrading the head unit. We're going to put an Android based head unit in it with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. To get started, this is the existing radio. So there's no screen, it's just a simple MP3 player, Bluetooth radio head unit. They had a cord keeper, I've pulled that off already. This whole fascia is replaced. So obviously we'll have to pull these compartments out. The new radio just comes with blank offs. So it's got a blank off for the push button start, which this car doesn't have. And it's got a blank off for the seat belts and a blank off for this little pocket, so they can be screwed in, they can be clipped in. And then there's a hole for the hazard switch. So this all needs to be transferred over. Now when we pop this fascia off, the radio itself stays and the fascia comes out, so we need to disconnect the harness for the seatbelt light and the hazard light to remove that fascia. That's the other thing too, we'll have to pop out the air vents and pop them into the new one. Alright, I'll give you a run through on the new one and we'll get into it. This one here is auxiliaries, so if you had external amplifiers, you've got all that. It also has this antenna here, little square one, is for the GPS. It has this long antenna, that's for the mobile phone reception because it has a 4G network card, SIM card that goes in it. Alright, and then you have some. This little thing here is the SIM card holder. Okay, so you just put a standard SIM in there, and then that allows you to use all your standard apps that would be required for data. So you can do location because you've got GPS, so you can do location as per like a mobile phone or something. That's the antenna for the GPS, the GPRS. This is a USB socket. Okay, there's two types. There's 4-pin and 3-pin. These are both 4-pin. So that's a 6-pin connector on that one, even though it's a 4-pin USB. Alright. This packet here has a few pry tools. And then we have 2 lots of power connectors. So there must be different options. Alright, this one's got a, well, they've both got that, but anyway, so I'm not 100% sure which is which, what the difference is, but we'll find that out soon enough. So I'd say it's something to do with the existing USBs. But anyway, we'll do that. Little bag of screws. So you'll need these to screw the screen into the fascia, which I've already done. So I'll just take a break, pull this screen out. Okay, so this is the screen. I've already plugged this connector in, and that's for the antenna. Okay, so there's different types of antennas. This is what's called a Farkler connection. So when we disconnect the old antenna, this will plug straight into it. All right, and then you've got a little stubby antenna on it. That's for the Wi-Fi reception to the head unit. Okay, so this is where you have your GPS, Wi-Fi and 4G. Oh, that's okay. Sorry, my bad. That's a 5G stubby, 4G, 5G stubby. So this is a new one. They didn't have 5G capability before. Most of them are 3G and 4G. So that long one's now a Wi-Fi antenna. Okay, and the little square one's still a GPS antenna. All right, and then you've got this plugs here. So this is where all your auxiliary stuff plugs into, like your USB. So this is a 6-pin. There's only one 6-pin, which is here. There's a 4-pin USB which goes next to it, so on and so forth. So you can't bugger this up. They're all different pinouts, so it's just plug in whichever one fits. All right, and this is the main power and speakers. So we need to work out which one we need. So these connectors, these covers, sorry, they need to come off because we've got a pocket to go in this one, and we've got our seat belt light for this one. So we'll pull these off. This is where the start button would go, but this model doesn't have the start button. So that's it. That's the whole fascia. It's all plug and play. The only thing we need to do is run that cable to the reverse camera. Righto, so we're set up in the car. We've turned the radio on and pressed the eject button to make sure that there is no CD. All right, because otherwise, once you pull this out, you're gonna have to pull it all back out again to reconnect the power to it to get the CD out. Okay, so that's all good. Turn it off. Now the easiest thing to do is just grab it here, pinch down and pull out. All right. It does come with trim tools. You can use the trim tools, but just by pushing down here, pulling out, there's all these white plastic clips around. All right, so I might use the trim tool only to try and give you a better view. But sometimes it's just easier just to pull it. All right. Steering wheel, you'll need to make sure that the steering wheel is up and out all the way. Okay, if it's telescopic, if it's not telescopic, don't worry about it, but that way it gives you space over this side here. All right. That's it, we're free. Okay, pull this out and you'll see there's the connectors there. Okay, yellow connector because it's part of the safety restraint system, SRS airbag system. That's for our little light. So we'll disconnect this one, and then the hazard light up here, we'll disconnect that, and then we'll start pulling everything out and swapping it over. Okay, so the harnesses are just a very simple push clip. So you just push the tab down and slip the harness out. All right. Now everything else is like all the air vents are secured in with screws. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for one air vent, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the other air vent. The pocket, same story. We've got 4 screws on the pocket, and 3 little black screws for the seat belt light. Okay, the other thing we need to do is all these little clips, they need to pop off and go onto the new head unit. Okay, they just slip off. You pop your little pry tool in, slip it forward, that's it. Okay, I'll try and get another view of that. All right, that's it. It just slips on. Very simple. Okay, I'll swap these over and get the new head unit ready. Okay, we've got all the screws out. Now if you have a look down here, you have a little clip there and a clip there. Okay, so you'll need to pull them forward to release the vent. Okay, so once the vents are out, I've got 2 of these clips still on there, and that's because it was being difficult to try and get out. If you have a look on the inside of the clip, there's that little tooth in there. So you need to pry the side with the tooth out to be able to slip it off. All right, and with this one here, it's on the side closest to the switch. Okay, so we'll get the switch out first. Now the switch, there's a little flat tab here and another one at the top. They squeeze together and the switch gets pushed out. All right, so we've got this other flat tool. Let's try and use it. All right, squeeze them in, push it to the front. That's it, that's out. And then we can pop this clip off. So far, this is the hardest part of the job. All right, I'll have to get another tool. Anyway, I'll put this other one back together and then I'll show you pulling the head unit out itself. Okay, so we've got two little problems so far. One of them is you can see this hole doesn't line up here. And that's because this bracket's too big for where the fascia is. Okay, so I'm gonna have to trim that down a little bit. That's not a big one. The other thing is, the hazard light switch doesn't fit. All right, and it's only just a beesdick out. So what I'm going to do is heat up this plastic here and slip the hazard light switch in. All right, so it's, yeah, trying to get it lined up's just not happening. So I'll heat this up a bit and then that should pull it back into shape. It's just, yeah, it's just lost its shape slightly. It's a little bit ovaled where it should be pretty all square. Okay, so I'll heat this up, slip this in, shave this little ear off, and then I can screw that on, and then we should be good to start transferring everything over. All right, so I just used the map gas, put a bit of heat around the switch, and that slid in pretty quick and easy, so that's all right. I shaved a little bit of the angle off this pocket, and that fit in perfectly. So I'll get the vents in it now, and then we'll pull the old one out. Righto, so the head unit's ready to come out. We've got all our vents all swapped over now. Looking good. So anyway, right, head unit's good to come out. We've got 4 screws. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Undo those, then the whole head unit pops out. All right. So far, the only tool I've used is a screwdriver. Slip it forward, and we'll see our harness here. So we actually have a standard antenna. Okay, so this one here we'll have to take off that adapter I put in there, which is no biggie, and plug that straight in there, so that's all good. And then we have 2 connectors here for radio power, speakers, etc, etc. So just a simple push connector, push this tab in and slip it out. Okay, same with the other one. Now that's all gone out of the way. Away with the old crap, in with the new. So I'll set you back up and we'll run some cables. Righto, remember before I said that there was 2 harness connectors, okay, white one and a black one. So if you have a look in the white one, you see these little tabs here. Well, they're not going to work with these connectors, are they? Okay, you can see it there. So we'll get rid of the white one, see the other one. We have 8 large connectors on the side there. 8 large connectors on the side there. This other side here, we have 4 large connectors. We have 4 large connectors. All right, 3 are connected. This is upside down to the black plug is upside down to the other ones. So we're just going to rotate it like that and plug them in. Okay. That's plugged in. That's plugged in. For the most part, if it was just a head unit change, that's it, we're done. But we've got our Wi-Fi and GPS antennas to install. So we'll get those run in. All I'm going to do is just put them up in behind the dash here. And there's not a bad spot up through the middle there. So provided I can get it in, but that should be alright. Alright, so basically you want to try and get the black side mounted up. Slip that in. You can mount these other locations on the windscreen, that sort of thing, but yeah, that's pretty ugly and hideous. So I just slip them in behind the dash. They always work for me. So that's all I'm going to do this time too. And then we'll plug everything in, do a test run, make sure everything's working. For those who are interested in retaining the factory microphone, which is on the ceiling here, that is connected to the small red and black. Okay, so if you look on the front here, it's the left hand 2 of the small pins, the first 2 small pins. Okay, if you do require it, then you'll have to get a connector, just a mono. I think it's a 3.5mm mono connector. All right, so this is the microphone input. Okay, there is a microphone built in the fascia. Okay, so it's not the end of the world, but if you find that it's just not good enough, you can get a connector for this. Okay, and cut those 2 cables and join them. So the center pin for this is going to be the red, and the black is the other one. Okay, if you do require it, it can be done, and then you don't have any unsightly microphones hanging out here on the dash or anything. You've got your factory microphone location. Okay, we're getting ready to put this in. So I've just tucked up the 2 antennas up the top here. The 4G, sorry, the SIM card holder and the spare USB. I'm going to tuck around in behind here, and I'm going to bring it out down underneath the steering wheel so that it's accessible. And I'll just put a cable tie on it down there so it's not going to fall onto the pedals or anything. But yeah, basically it's just trying to feed it in around the corner, which is not real hard. Okay, so I've got that through. I've connected the antenna. All of the other cables are all connected, so it's all ready for an additional one more cable to connect. This one here, okay, is a 4-pin connector for USB, and that's actually connected to the factory USB and auxiliary input. All right, so that just plugs in down there, and then this one's got our power in it, so we'll plug that in. Make sure the keys are out. Okay, that's all plugged in. So now it's just feeding all this in, plugging in our hazard light switch and our seatbelt switch, our light, sorry, and tucking everything in out of the way, and then the whole thing just clips in. Job done. Then we'll get into setting up and programming. All right, so let's get it in. Okay, seatbelt light switch plugged in. Take all that stuff out of the way. Hazard lights done. Make sure the hazards actually work. That's better. There we go, we're in. So what was happening is the little antenna for the 5G antenna, the stubby antenna, was actually sitting out a little bit, and it was pushing against the frame where the old radio was screwed in. So it just goes to show it doesn't pay to force things in, because you could actually end up breaking it. So anyway, it fits pretty well. There's obviously a lot going on. So, but yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Let's fire up and see how it looks. Okay, so that's initial startup. Didn't take too long. It won't do that every time you start it up. All right, so that's our basic home screen. There's features on this that aren't being connected. Reverse camera, DVR, so you've got the ability to add a DVR integrated, and it'll actually record onto the head unit. So this head unit is a 6 gig 128 gig, so it's got a 6 gig of RAM and 128 gig of hard drive or storage. So this is able to have videos and the likes, obviously all your apps and everything, downloaded onto the to the head unit itself, so you could have music, videos, photos, so on and so forth already stored on it. Okay, so every time you get one of these head units, they're a little bit different. I'm yet to have two that have actually rocked up and are the same. This will be audio. Okay, so we've got sound, which is good. Let's do an auto search, make sure our antenna's connected. I did notice antenna, the stubby's not on the roof. All right, so we've got some noise without the antenna. It's probably going to be pretty average. Anyway, we'll go. Let's just clear that. We'll start from the start. We'll go into settings. So we'll double check everything here. This is your general settings. Turn picture in picture on, might give a bit of assistance. Navigation software, so we can use different navigation here. So it comes with iGo. So Z-Link 5, that's actually your CarPlay. Okay, so we'll just set it to Google. Set your brightness settings. Radio region set to Australia, so that's good because we're in Australia. You can change the default settings. Key lights, okay, so these lights up the side are set to red. I don't know, half of this stuff is whitelist settings, doesn't make any sense to me. Desktop settings, you can have a theme and no theme, so let's go back and check that. But yeah, system info is just basic details on the system. You can do a factory reset, and then you've got your factory settings and a system update. So the system update You should be able to do a system update if it's connected to Wi-Fi, but we haven't set any of that up yet. Okay, to get CarPlay up and running, you can just hit the telephone button. That comes into the Bluetooth setting. Okay, in the Bluetooth setting, you got the pair list. There's nothing paired. I'll change the name. In settings, you can change the device name. You can set a PIN number. You can set the auto connect and auto answer. Okay, so I've got all that set up. So I'll go through and connect the phone to it now. Alrighty, so settings, Bluetooth, other devices. Select the head unit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, here's our pairing code. So that's connected now and instantly straight into CarPlay. Do I want to use CarPlay with Zealy? Yes, use CarPlay. That's it. Z-Link is connected, so Bluetooth's been turned off. All right, so now that's everything set up there. Okay. So the other thing I suggest is going through and checking that, even though it's all pre-wired, checking that the right front speaker is the right front speaker, so on and so forth. So to do that, we go home, we go to the apps, and then we'll have, actually DSP does it. Okay, so this is our digital signal processor. You can set different scenes, pop scenes, so on and so forth. It changes all the levels of the frequencies as per. Okay, this one here, location, that shows that it's all set up to the center. So we can move this over and it'll show that that's left front speaker, right front speaker, center, rears, rear right, rear left, sorry, rear right, and then we'll go back to center. Okay. Other features within this system is changing the levels of individual components to the speakers, so you can change the bandwidth. All right, I've set the high pass filter. All right, we don't want, because these are all factory speakers, so we don't want sub bass frequencies going to these speakers. So the front, I've moved to 40 hertz, which is still quite low, because the front speakers are bigger and better than the rear speakers. The rear, I've moved to 63 hertz. Okay, so we kill those sub bass frequencies. We don't have to worry about it. All right, and then you've actually got the time delay you can set up as well. This car's only small, so you don't need to worry about any of that. Okay, so we'll go back home. One thing we need to do is to set up the steering wheel controls. Okay, so here we have, pretty simple, volume up, down, answer call, hang up call, mute button, and change the mode or the source. Okay, the other side's all the trip computer, so it doesn't matter. So to do this, we need to go into the settings for steering wheel control. So if we go apps, slide across, steering wheel learning, okay, hit that one, and then we can go start. We press the plus, and that's that one. So we'll go volume negative, select the key, volume negative, mute, select the key, mute. Answer call, select the key, answer call. End call, select the key, end call. Mode, select the key, mode. That's it, end, done. Okay, so then if I press mode, this is a factory loaded song. Press mode again, we're into video. Press mode again, we're into radio. Turn the volume down, turn the volume up, mute the volume. All right, that's it. It's all done. On to the next job.